One and all. This is Monica Irella from TTWRDC Women's Mood. As a part of online lecture presentation program, I would like to present a topic on sericulture. Here, the sericulture plays a key role in employment generation. It is also helpful for the students of applied zoology. Now I would like to present various aspects of sericulture, types of silkworms and types of cultivation, and the production and shares will be discussed. Coming to our topic, sericulture. Sericulture is a science which deals as a part of science or branch of science which deals with the rearing or activity of silkworms for the production of silk from silkworms. Such type of phenomenon is known as sericulture. Here, the sericulture derived from a word, from a Greek word serikos. Serikos means silk producing, which means seri means silk, kos means culture, which means the culturing of silk producing organisms, such are called as sericulture. Here, in fact, the sericulture provides an immense scale of rearing of silk producing organisms in order to obtain silk. The silk is secreted by the silkworms from silk gland. Here, the interesting topic of this silk gland is the silk gland is the modification gland of salivary glands of silkworm. Here the silk fibers are consisting of two types of proteins, namely fibrin and sericin. Here the composition of the silk fiber is consisting of 80% of fibrin proteins and 20% of sericin proteins. In the world production, China is the first ranking in producing the silk, and India is the second largest producer of silk after China. In our India, we are the largest consumers of silk in worldwide. In India, Karnataka is the largest producer of silk. In India, produce all type of varieties of silkworms like domesticated silkworms and non-domesticated silkworms, which means domesticated silkworms are reared under conditions and produce silk in the form of silk gland. Here there are two types of that. One is domesticated, another one is non-domesticated. The example of these domesticated silkworms are Bombax mori, which belongs to the family Bombaxidae. Okay. And the non-domesticated silkworms, which are also called as Vanyas silkworms, which means they are not cultivated, or they are unable to cultivate it or cultured or reared under certain conditions. So that's why they are lived in wild type of worms, which means the examples of these wild type silkworms are Tassa, Muga, Erie silkworms. Here the almost all the species of silkworms of Bombax mori are widely used for producing silk. Why? Because of this Bombax mori is a multi-Olten races. Multi-Olten. What is meant by Oltenism? The Oltenism is a phenomenon of the organism which produce a number of generations for their surveillance, for their number of generation, how they are transferring genes for multiple purpose for producing their offspring. Such type of phenomenon is called as Oltenism. Oltenism is nothing but the number of generations which occurred by the organism, produced by these organisms. This Bombax mori is a multi-Olten organisms. Okay, and the silk is known as queen of textiles, and it is also called as biosteel because of the strength of this silk. Next, coming to Mori culture. Mori culture is a phenomenon in which the organism, the silkworms, feed on mulberry plants for their feeding purpose. So, we have to cultivate the mulberry plants for the purpose of silk production, which means the Mori culture is a phenomenon of mulberry cultivation to rear the silkworms for obtaining silk production. And the Bombaxi Mori feeds especially on white mulberry leaves, which means Morus alba plants. Here the history of silk. Here the history of silk is consisting of a special Chinese tale which we are studied in our olden tales. A Chinese olden tale discovery of tells about the discovery of silkworms. Silk was by the ancient empress Li Zhu, the wife of emperor, and she was drinking a tea under a mulberry tree. When she is drinking the tea, suddenly a cocoon fell into her hot tea cup, and the hot tea is loosened the cocoon silk stand will be loosened the silk thread fibrings, and she picked out the cocoon and wrapped around her fingers. Slowly she felt warm sensation. When the worm ran out from this cocoon. She saw the small larva and she realizes that the caterpillar larva is the was the source of silk, and she taught this to the people, and it became widespread, which means and here China is origin of sericulture. The Chinese lady Zi Lingxi, she is the mother of sericulture, who invited the mystery of silkworm cocoons accidentally, and it is said to be discovered of the silkworms at the 300 BC, and after art of the silk production was secrets up to 2000 BC, and trading of the silkworms was the road of through the Silk Road at that time. By about 300 AD, the sericulture has spread to India from Korea. In 1857, the silk industry is suffered with pebrine disease. At that times, almost the silk production industry will be fall down or destroyed in European countries. At that time, Louis Pasteur conducted several experimentations on these silkworms and discovered that these mother moths are the sources for the pebrine disease spreading throughout the world. By his experiments, he got the name of father of sericulture. Here I would like to present a small video about a history of sericulture. In this video, we will going to discuss about
silk is one of the most prized fabrics in the world. Most people love to wear silk apparels on special and auspicious occasions. Silk is obtained from silkworms, which are cultured on commercial scale to obtain silk. But have you ever wondered that how this fiber was discovered 5,000 years back by the mankind? According to an old Chinese legend, silk was discovered by a Chinese empress. She found some white worms eating up the leaves of the mulberry trees in her garden. She noticed that worms were spinning shiny cocoons around them. She collected some of those cocoons. Accidentally, one of the cocoons dropped into her cup of tea. She noticed that the cocoon was actually made from a long thread that was both strong and soft. In this way, the fiber of silk was discovered, but Chinese guarded the secret of silk for over 1,000 years. Afterwards, traders and travelers introduced silk to various parts of the world. Silk was introduced in India about 1900 years ago. The story of its introduction is related to a Chinese princess who married an Indian prince. She was very fond of silk fabric and therefore she brought silkworm eggs to India in her headdress and fed them with the leaves of Indian mulberry trees, initiating the silk production in India. Currently, world's production of silk is estimated to be around 1,25,000 metric tons per year. China holds top position with production of about 80% of the world's silk. India is also a leading producer, accounting for 10% of the world production. India is the world's second largest producer and consumer of silk and its products.
Thank you. Coming to our topic, and the Silk Road. The Silk Road was world's largest trade route between the eastern China and Mediterranean Sea. The silk is valuable commodity in those times was transported along this road. This China was the first to start the sericulture and the cultivation of silkworms spread throughout China soon. And today China and India are main producers. The two countries are main producers, together manufacturing about more than 60% of world production each year. Here the silk was exported along the Silk Road, ancient trade route linking China and Roman Empire. This trade route brought the China's great wealth, but the Chinese didn't give away the secret on how the silk was produced. And here the some of the methods of Chinese sericulture processes. First one is mulberry leaves placed on trees, which means it is a way of tray rearing mechanism, which means here the bamboo trays are used for the cultivation of the swarms, rearing of tree worms. And the second one is twin frames for the silkworms are prepared, which means here the bamboo frames are used for the cultivation or rearing of these silkworms. Here the third one is cocoons are weighed, which means after the cocooning process they are sort out the cocoons and they are weighing the cocoons and for the pupal and as well as thread weight. And here the cocoons are soaked and the silk wounds on spools, which means here the cocoons are soaked in hot water and they are reeled into silk fibers. Here in our India, Aryans discovered the silkworms in Himalayan regions. The silk from Kashmir to Bangalore was exported to European markets during the 14th and 15th centuries. The Tipu Sultan of Mysore laid a foundation in Mysore for this production of silk in Mysore. In 1771, Chinese silkworms are introduced in India to improve the quality of cocoons, which means the quality of cocoons will be improved by the racial with the copulation of this Chinese silkworm breed with Indian silkworm breed. Then we'll get the hybridized races to produce the more luxurious silk or luster silk for the silk production. In 1717 to 1775, Italian methods of rearing was introduced by the East India Company, which means East India Company introduced the various methods of sericulture, which means various methods of rearings. In one of the method is Italian rearing method. In 1942, the Sericulture Board conduct a silk conference at Delhi and silk expansion scheme to meet the requirement of parachute cloth, which means here the paramilitary and as well as East Indian companies are improvising the silk industry for their purpose of exportation and as well as parachute cloth requirements. In 1947, Central Silk Board is established. In 1963, CSTRI at Mysore. Okay. Here CSTRI means Central Sericulture Trade Research Institute at Mysore was established. In 1964, Tassa Research Station is established. The regional research stations are established in Salem, Trivandrum, Anantapur, Kollegial and Bangalore, Mazda, Pampere at that time, 1964. What is silk? The silk is the vein of textile industry which spells luxurious elegance and class comfort. The mankind always loved this shimmering fiber and parlor gravure, and it withstand many negating challenges from other natural and artificial fibers. Here it is a symbol of royalty. How can we identify the natural silk? Sometimes artificial silk are sold out in the name of natural silk. It can be easily detected with the simple burning test, which means if we burn that silk fiber, it gives a smell. It is not natural silk, which means natural silk will not produce any type of smell during the burn. Here the some of the terminology we would like to discuss in these technical terms associated with silkworm culturing, which means silkworm rearing. Voltanism means it is a classical reference or referring of number of life cycles as per year, which means the number of generations produced by the organisms depending upon the typical silkworms nature, which means uni and bivoltine and trivoltine or multivoltine races which produce a number of generations for the development of the organisms. Generations are called as voltanism. DFLs is nothing but disease free layings, which means a group of eggs are laid by the moth which has been certain disease free, and normally it is consisting of 200 healthy eggs. After the emergence from the cocoon, the male moth immediately copulates with female moth. After the period of 24 to 36 hours, female moth lays eggs about in 3 batches, and these eggs are cleaned and washed, examined under microscope for the disease specifically from pebrine disease. After the batch is certified, the disease free, then only they are used for the rearing field, which means DFLs are nothing but the clear examined disease free eggs are called as DFLs, which means chalky worm rearing. Chalky worm rearing is nothing but the initial eggs from the initial egg stage to third instar, which means third larval stage, are called as chalky worm rearing. Here the chalky worm rearing is consisting of 1 week larval to 4th stage larva. Okay, Pebrine. Pebrine is a silkworm disease which is caused by the Microsporidium parasite, mainly caused by Nosema bombaxis. Okay. And here dipause cocoons. Dipause cocoons are nothing but the pupa sets inside the cocoon and goes into the hibernation or dipause state, which means the hibernation state. After the 15th star, the larvae go for dipause stage, and which secrete the silk around their body, and the body becomes pupal stage. Such type of losing of their characters and go for a hibernation period. Such type of stage is called as dipause stage. Grainages. The process of eggs making in the layman's called as grainages. It involves in the storage of eggs, facilitating the male and female copulation, washing, cleaning of eggs, and disease checking will be takes place in the grainages. Here molt. Molt is nothing but molding phases are nothing but costing of skin, and it is also called as ecdysis, which means after the silk life cycle is consisting of 45 to 50 days. During this process, the organism shades the skin. At that time, that the costing of skin for the development is called as molting. Okay. Echo-rays. Due to the climatic conditions and country variations, to adapt the local conditions, have to evolve the distinct echo races. For example, Daba and Modal and Raleigh, Loia, Tassar simplified. Similarly, in case of Tassar, mulberry echo races are developed in the central silk board to get the maximum productivity of particular area, which means echo zones. And in particular areas, they produce particular type of organism like Antheracia assamensis, which is Muga silkworms are only produced in the Assam states, Assam and Nagaland. Here, Voltonism. Voltonism refers to the number of generations as per year due to the hormonal genetical characterization under hormonal control. Here it is divided into three types: univoltine, bivoltine and multivoltine. Here the univoltine races are produced one generation per year. Here multivoltine races are producing two generations per the year. Multivoltine races are gives more than 3 generations per year. Such type of voltines are called as multivoltine races. And various types of silkworms are there in our sericulture. They are nothing but domesticated silkworms and non-domesticated silkworms, which means the mulberry silkworms are called as domesticated silkworms. Tassar, Muga, Erie, Oak, Jain silkworms are called as wild type or Vanya sericulture, which means they are non-domesticated. They are not unable to rear under the rearing conditions or rearing room. And here there is a specific species are there. Here we are going to discuss. If we observe this is a mulberry silkworm. This is Tassar silk larva and Tassar moth, mother moth. Here it is oak Tassar. This is white larva is called as Erie silkworm, and it is Muga. Muga silkworms are only present in the Assamensis region. Here there are 4 types, but in these cultivation, as per the cultivation and as well as major source types and commercial types, they are consisting of various types of silkworms, which means there are 5 types based on their food habituations and the number of food plants and the variety of conditions and ecozones. They are categorized into 5 types. They are mulberry silkworms, tussar silkworms, oak tussar silkworms, Erie silkworms, and Muga silkworms. Mulberry silkworms. The bulk of commercial silk produced in the world comes from the variety of these mulberry silkworms. These mulberry silkworms comes from the mulberry silk comes from the mulberry silkworm, which is nothing but namely Bambaxi mori, which is solely feeds on mulberry plants. Morus alba. In India, major mulberry silk producing states are Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, West Bengal, Tamil Nadu, Jammu and Kashmir, which together accounts 92% of country's total mulberry raw silk production. Here tussar silks. This tussar is generally called as Antheria melita, which mainly thrives on the plants of Terminalia asan and Terminalia arjuna plants. They are less lustrous than mulberry silk, but it has own feel and appeal. These tussar silks mainly produced in the states of Jharkhand, Chhattisgarh, Odisha, besides Maharashtra, West Bengal, and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana regions, which is nearby river basin areas. The tussar culture is mainly stay for many tribal communities in India. Why? Because of these tussar worms are lived on asan and as well as Terminalia arjuna and Terminalia katapa plants, which are the sources which are present in the river basin areas like Godavari and as well as Krishna Delta regions. And the oak tussar means it is the finest variety of tussar silkworms. The name as Antheria foeli, and in India they feeds on the natural plants of oak. They are found in abundance the sub-Himalayan regions of Indian, covering states like Manipur, Himachal Pradesh, Uttar Pradesh, Jammu and Kashmir. China is the major producing of oak tussar in the world, and this comes from the another silkworms which is known as Antheria foeli. Erie silkworms. It is also known as Erendi silkworms, Indi silkworms. Erie silk is produced by the domesticated silkworm like Philosomia resini. They feeds mainly on resinous communicous plants, which is nothing but castor plants. Agriculture is a household activity which is practiced mainly for the protein-rich pupae and delicacy of for the tribal community. This silk is used for indigenously for the preparation of chaddars for the own uses by these tribals. In India, this culture of practice is mainly in northeastern states and Assam. It is also found in Bihar, West Bengal, and Odisha. Here there is various types of silk fibers are observed in this slide. If you observe the white color silk fibers which is produced by mulberry silkworm, and brown color here is, if we observe this brown color, Muga silkworm, and here luscious tussar silk the golden color is consisting of Erie silkworms. Okay, here in this slide we are going to discuss about different types of mulberry plants and the scientific names and the hosting plants are which state is producing this. First, mulberry silkworms are white colored silkworms. The scientific name of this family is and they are coming from the family Bambacidae. The scientific name of this mulberry silkworm is Bambaxi mori. They feeds on the mulberry plants for their feeding activity. They are mainly producing by the states of Karnataka and Andhra Pradesh, Telangana. In this Tropical tussar and oak tussar is produced by, sorry, the scientific names of these two tussars are Antheracia millita, and Antheracia prolini, which belongs to the family Saturniidae. And the host plants are Terminalia catappa and Terminalia arjuna, asan salt plants for tropical tussar. And in this oak tussar silkworms are feeds on oak plants. They are present in the sub-Himalayan belt regions. Tropical tussar is present in Jharkhand, Odisha, Chhattisgarh, West Bengal, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, river basin areas, especially. Eri silkworms are belongs to the family Saturniidae. Here the Somias cynthia is the scientific name of this Eri silkworms. The host plant is Ricinus communicus, the castor plant. It is present in producing northeastern states, Bihar, West Bengal, Odisha. Muga silkworms, golden yellow colored silkworms. They are also called as golden yellow colored silkworms. Antheraria assamensis, which also belongs to the family Saturniidae. They are feeds on salt plants, which is present in the Assam region. The systematic position of these silkworms are: they belongs to the phylum Arthropoda, the class Insecta, and the order Lepidoptera, and the family Bambacidae. The life cycle of mulberry silkworm. Here the adult Bambaxi morai about 2.5 centimeters in length, and